Well, I tell you, seeing Fred and Marjorie Macy just makes me want to dance, so it's going to be a dancey morning this morning. Happy birthday, Emerson. That's kind of like we're saying it to ourselves. Let's sing happy birthday to ourselves real quick. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday, dear us. Oh, Emerson. Happy birthday to us. Yay. Good morning. I am Reverend Deborah Bennett. It's a joy to be with you here on this rainy day. Nothing else to do today. Might as well go to church. Though our picnic is postponed until next week, today we do celebrate Founders Day, the founding of this community here in our sanctuary. And we celebrate you and how we could not be this community without you. It's a beautiful thing, and I am grateful that so many people have done all that they have done to create and continually recreate this wonderful community and Unitarian Universalism. If this is your first visit here with us, a special welcome to you. We truly hope you're nourished in heart and mind this morning, and we look forward to getting to know you. I'm going to begin today by offering some words. These are adapted from Reverend Elizabeth Mount, and I'm going to invite Leslie McLean to light our chalice after the words. This is a little piece called The Church Incarnate. Come into this place, bringing all you hold with you, whether your heart is filled with gladness and joy or is heavily burdened. Whether you are on the brink of laughter, tears, or rage, this community can hold you and your strongest emotions. Yes, even the messy ones are welcome here. Come if you sing just a bit too loud or dance just a bit too much. If you hold still as statues and just like to breathe it in. If you sway to the music moving your soul, you are welcome here. Come in and say amen when the Spirit moves you. Tell the preacher to preach. Yes, that's right. Preach it. Or close your eyes and quietly let your mind float free on the words you hear. Come into this place with every piece of yourself gathered up and let us be the church incarnate. Let us bring forth the spirit of all that we love by the words of our mouths and the doing of our hands as we make sacred this very special time together. May it be so, and may our chalice be lit to light our way. Thank you, Leslie. And now in the spirit of beloved community, I'm going to invite you to turn and greet your neighbors, those worshiping with you this morning. Move about the room if you would like. Say hi to somebody new. I see a few folks who it may be their first time here. Track them down, say hello. Those of you online, good morning, welcome to you. Please greet each other. I think that's your favorite time of worship, isn't it? Well, I'm just going to keep going as if we're all paying attention. You guys keep doing you. I'll keep doing me. It's all good. No, seriously, this part's done. It's your fault. You kept playing, Bruce. Okay, so today is our birthday, but there's been some questions about exactly how old Emerson is. Does anybody relate to that? Like, are you like, wait, how old am I? So at one point I was saying this was our 39th birthday, but then Millie told me and insisted that it was our 40th, but then I got out the handy-dandy membership book, and lo and behold, we are 41 today. Yeah, that just happened. Well, indeed, it was May of 1982 when Emerson was founded. At that first potluck meeting, everyone came prepared to share something from a famous Unitarian. Ralph Waldo Emerson got the most support, so those present decided to choose Emerson Unitarian Universalist as our name. Now, at that point, it was the Emerson Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. 25 people signed the application for fellowship status with the Unitarian Universalist Association. In the beginning, the meetings were held in a bank. This is our lore, so I know you all know this, but we're going to just listen to the lore for those of you new. We're held in the DeKalb Federal Savings and Loan on Johnson Ferry Road. In those days, children held their classes in stairwells and the kitchen. See, that's where we get that love of food. In 1984, Emerson found a little yellow church. Who was in the little yellow church on Holly Springs Road? It would be fixed up and become Emerson's home until 2014. During those first years, services were led by guest ministers and speakers from the congregation. From 86 to 95, Emerson had two part-time ministers, the Reverend Joan Armstrong and the Reverend Terry Bailoff. Then in 1998, the Reverend Dr. Glenda Gray became Emerson's first full-time minister. Emerson grew, the RE program grew, thanks to the dedicated leadership of Beth Klein. If you're listening, Beth, we see you. Music became a major draw for Emerson, and in 2004, we welcomed Dr. Kathy Middleman, I see you, as our choir director. Glenda Gray retired in 2008, and Emerson welcomed interim minister Reverend Marnie Harmony, while the congregation searched for a new full-time minister. In August of 2008, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Marietta decided to join forces with Emerson, bringing their talents and treasures. So who here came from that congregation? Claude, I see you. Anybody else? Oh, Patricia? Leslie? All right, thank you. Beth Klein? That's right, Beth Klein. And who else? And Debbie Ballou. All right, Debbie. Nice. And I know Vicki Eklund, you're watching, so we see you too. Thank you for coming. And Keith Eklund, of course. Well, Vicki came. Keith probably came too. That's for my marriage sermon that's coming up, but we'll talk about that. In May of 2010, the congregation warmly welcomed the Reverend Jeff Jones, yay, as our second full-time minister. Emerson grew both in numbers and in our presence in the wider community. After many years of exploring various options and with a commitment to accessibility, Emerson, the congregation, voted to buy this property and move here to 4010 Canton Road in May of 2014. In May of 2017, Reverend Jeff Jones gave his last sermon at Emerson, and the congregation named him Minister Emeritus. And after 2 years of interim ministry of Dr. Don Cameron, Emerson welcomed me as your third full-time called minister. Now, I hired Bruce King, and moments later, the pandemic hit. So make the connections you will about all those events, but that's how we got to here. You're fine. Indeed, I am blessed to come behind so many other ministers and so many other people who serve this congregation so beautifully, and so many staff. And today, on our birthday, I have the pleasure of doing something not all called ministers get to do. I have the pleasure to welcome back to our congregation Emerson's Minister Emeritus as a member and fully participant in this congregation. So, Reverend Jeff, would you come up, please? There's a microphone. I'm gonna grab one of those next. It's a joy to have you here, Reverend Jeff, as a member of Emerson and as Emerson's Minister Emeritus. And now, as common when a minister emeritus is part of the congregation with a called minister, the two ministers enter into a covenant together. And this covenant helps us clarify who we would like to be in relationship as colleagues and in our respective roles as minister and minister emeritus. So I'm going to invite, Jeff and I thought maybe we would just read our covenant at least, a little modified, but our basic covenant with each other, so you get a sense of our relationship and how we hold the space together. You feel so far away. Would you want to take one of the handheld mics? Come closer. There we go, I like that better. All right, so members of Emerson Unitarian Universalist congregation voted in May of 2017 to name the Reverend Jeff Jones as its minister emeritus. Jeff served the congregation wisely and was much beloved minister for 7 years. He expects to live in the Atlanta area with his spouse for the foreseeable future.
Both Reverend Deborah and I are committed to the congregation.
I don't think that's on.
Is it on?
Mm-mm.
Thank you.
I know, you're a little rusty, but it's okay.
Both Reverend Deborah and I are committed to the congregation and to successful ministry now and in the future. Mindful of the multi-level dynamics of having a current settled minister and a former settled minister in the congregation at the same time, we have entered into this covenant together. We affirm all of the duties, responsibilities, and privileges of the lead minister rest with Reverend Deborah.
As a volunteer community minister, Jeff will be engaged in ministry outside the congregation. Within the congregation, he has no duties or responsibilities, and he will consult with me to discern ways to support my ministry and the ministries of the congregation.
We respect and affirm the gifts and talents that each brings to the art of ministry.
And we will celebrate those gifts and talents that we each bring.
We will support and advocate for healthy communications.
As colleagues, should a congregant express concerns to us about the other, we will ask the congregant to speak directly to the other minister.
Reverend Deborah is responsible for the well-being of the congregation, including rites of passage, ceremonies, and pastoral care.
Reverend Jeff is a full member of the congregation, and it is expected that he will develop deep and caring mutual friendships with others in the congregation.
When in question, I commit to informing Reverend Deborah of any concerns that may arise about my role as minister emeritus.
And I may ask Jeff to preach at Emerson once or twice a year.
Such services are arranged at mutual convenience and are provided as a gift to the congregation.
Jeff is also invited to volunteer to provide other services, classes, and leadership to the congregation. Such activities will be entered into with support and in conversation.
Out of respect for clarity and our different roles and identities, a key guide to communication between us is no surprises.
We pledge to be in timely communication about any issues that may affect the other or the health of the congregation.
With deep appreciation and respect for each other and for the congregation, we affirm this covenant. Blessings.
Just makes you want to cry. I think we're going to sing now. Are we singing now? Somebody tell me what I'm doing. Okay, we are going to rise in body or spirit and join in holy song. Thank you, Reverend Jeff. It is number 389 in the gray hymnal, if you like hymnals. Or that's right up there. I think Bruce is going to tell us a little bit about what to do.
So this morning, we're going to sing in a round. We'll all sing together twice through. And then everyone from the center aisle on Deborah's side will be group 1. And everybody from the center aisle on my side, group 2. No competition, but I want to beat Deborah's side, folks. Okay? So we'll sing it twice through together. And when you start your round, you'll sing it twice through again, and we will be done. So, here we go. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered everybody.
We're not saying who won, that was equal. We tied. Everyone, this is our time we take a moment to pause and reflect on the joys, sorrows, and concerns that those in our community would like to share, and also just to pause to kind of center ourselves with our own joys, sorrows, and concerns. We do have our candles of care that are available to you every Sunday. Feel free to come in the morning, light a candle for someone you are holding in your heart or something in this world. We have 3 candles that we begin with to hold our collective joys, sorrows, and concerns. We acknowledge that we are on the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of people. And it's also a candle to acknowledge the enslavement of people that happened on and near these lands that we live on. Yesterday, about 31 of us took a trip to Montgomery to the Peace and Justice Memorial. And we'll talk more about that later at a different service, but it's profound to think of the legacy that we have inherited, both the good legacy of those that have done good work in the world and also the legacy of those that have done harm. So, special candle this morning, just acknowledging that continual legacy. Susan, are you available to light candles? Susan is our pastoral care team with me, so if you ever need a good listening ear, Susan is always available to you. You can write her at pastoralcare@emersonuu.org or I. Today in our book, we have a joy that was written, and I want to read that out loud. Oh, I kind of already said this, but I'm going to say it again because Patricia Johnson also wants to lift up. She says, I am so glad I attend a church that would make a trip to the Legacy Museum in Montgomery for a second time. Also, my friends were impressed. It was a riveting and emotional experience. Thank you, social justice team and Reverend Deborah. And I agree. And a special joy, I think Susan Allman wrote this, but it is truly a joy from all of us. It is a joy to have Marjorie and Fred Macy with us this morning. They are some of our founding members. So if you are, especially if you are new, please take a moment at fellowship time to say hello to Marjorie and Fred. Could you two just give a little, so we know where you are? They're right down here in the front. There we go. Thank you. What a joy to be with you. And I know there are probably joys, sorrows, concerns that you hold in your heart that haven't been written down, but I want to give you a moment to just say out loud the name of someone you're holding in your heart. As you know, I firmly believe in the power of that kind of prayer where we turn our attention to somebody and give our loving awareness to them. So please feel free now to say out loud the name of someone you are holding in your heart. Judy and Ronnie. Together, let's join by sending the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness out into the world and among us all. You can repeat the words after me if you would like. They're also in your order of service if you'd like to see them. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we be free from harm and suffering. May we be well in body, heart, and mind. May we be at peace. Blessed be. Thank you.
Unitarian Universalism is a faith often referred to as one of deeds, not creeds. It is how we show up in the world that we live our faith. One way we seek to do that is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice to the world. Each Sunday, we collect financial contributions which are shared with our partner organization equally. This month, and today is the last Sunday in the month, so the last opportunity for this partner, we share our basket with the Chattahoochee River Keepers. They describe themselves as a calling to ensure there's enough clean water in the Chattahoochee River now and for future generations. And they do this work through educating, investigating, and advocating. We encourage each of you to support this vital work. Please offer a donation as you are able, or take one of the cards that describes the ways to give electronically. Ways to give are also posted in the chat. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally with Emerson and our partner organization.
Morning. You can hear me? It's time for a story for all ages. Please, little people.
You're not going to want to miss this one. Come on.
All right.
Oh, come on now.
So we have a story about being in community today.
Oh, wonder what's going to happen next. She said it's a story about community, but she just turned her back on us. I'm not sure what's happening. I think she has something on her face, but I don't think she knows. Could you tell her? Could you just say you have something on your face?
You have a little something on your face.
No, nothing on my face.
You sure?
Got something on the paper too. Am I on? No.
I think you are.
Okay. No. I don't have anything on my face.
Maybe if you tell her she has something on her
You got something in your face. It's like a brown, miss yellow thing.
What are you talking about? You're wrong. I'm not going to listen to you.
There is a tan paint mark on your face.
Funny you should say that because you're the one that has something on your face.
You tell her that you have something on your face. You want to say it? Yeah. Do you want to say it?
You have something on your face. Can you please look at it?
Oh, you must be joking. I'm an expert face washer. I've studied face washing for years. Nah.
Well, we all have something on our face.
That comes later. Could you play along? Say, you have something on your face.
Like a nose?
All right, I'm going to stick with the kids. Would you tell Patricia you have something on your face? Do you want to say, do you have something on your face? It's not going as planned. You want to tell her again?
Yes, you definitely have something on your face.
No, no, no. How dare you tell me I have something on my face? You don't get to play with me anymore.
Tell her again.
We're telling the truth. There's something on your face.
I have something on my face? What's wrong with me? I'm going back to bed.
Oh. Tell her again. Tell her one more time.
You're going to be punished.
We're not there. Let's see. Just tell her. They warn you in ministry school, don't give the kids a microphone, but. So
If you would look at your face, then you could possibly find out if you have something on your face.
Well, everybody has something on their face.
Yeah,
So why mention it? There's nothing we can do about it. It's always going to be this way.
I think we need some help. So maybe all together we're going to say, Patricia, you have something on your face. Are you ready? Patricia, you have something on your face.
I have something on my face? Thank you for telling me. I know. I've been washing it away bit by bit, but I guess some of it is stickier than I thought. I really appreciate you letting me know.
So, which one of those answers from Patricia felt kind of like the most answer that you would want to hear in a Unitarian Universalist congregation? Gregor? Which of her answers did you like the best? You like that? Clark, what do you like? Which one of her answers? Do you think it was a good answer when she said, I don't have that on my face?
I think it was a good idea when she said, oh, I have something on my face. Thank you for telling me.
Oh, let's hear that one. That was good. Say that again, exactly like that.
I like the one where she said, oh, I do have something on my face.
Thank you for telling me. Yeah. What does everybody else think?
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What do you think?
No, I was just going to say that sometimes it's hard for us to listen to other people when they're pointing out something that we may not believe. But if we're going to be part of community, it's important for us to listen, right? Listen and go in the mirror and check.
Yeah.
Right?
And take some input, because somebody might be able to see something that you can't see, because Patricia couldn't see her face, could she? But you could see it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right, let's
Let's
sing
sing
our song of dedication.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, children. Do I have anything on my face? That's a loaded question. Just a smile. Well, I'm going to invite you to take this next period of time for our centering. This is our time where we get to just take a breath. Put it all down for a moment. If you like closing your eyes for these such things, feel free to close your eyes. Or just have some soft eyes so that you're just allowing yourself to be within for a moment. Take a nice deep breath. Breathe in, fill up your lungs, fill up your whole belly cavity if you can, and then exhale really deeply. Find your own rhythm of your breath. Nice breath in, breath out. I'm going to invite you, if you would like, to take your left hand and laying it on your lap as you are able, have it facing up. So your palm of your left hand is facing up. And as you sit, centered in yourself, exactly where you are in that seat right now, imagine in your left hand is coming in the stream of all that's come before you. All the people that have contributed to your life in beautiful ways. Allow yourself to receive their gifts into your present life. None of us are here solely of our own accord. We are here through the gifts and giving of those that have come before. Allow yourself to receive into your present moment. And then if you'd like, take your right hand and have it facing palm down as if you are offering gifts to those that will come after you. We have received, and so we shall give. And we are but one part of this incredible chain of events of life. Allow yourself to feel your connection to past, your connection to future, and your divine presence right here, right now. Bring your hands onto your heart if you would like. Take a deep breath in, and as you are ready, you can open your eyes.
I am standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I am stronger for their courage. I am wiser for their words. I am lifted by their longing for a fair and brighter future. I am grateful for their vision, for their toiling on this earth. We are standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before us. They are saints and they are humans. They are angels, they are friends. We can see beyond the struggles and the troubles and the challenge when we know that by our efforts things will be better in the end. They lift me higher than I could ever fly, carrying my burdens away. I imagine a world if they hadn't tried to hold the ones who follow me.
Thank you. That got me. Well, indeed, we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. So thank you, Millie and Richard Fuller. Are they in the house? Must be wandering around somewhere. And Fred and Marjorie and Ed Miller, if you're watching, and all of the founders of Emerson. Because of you, we are here. Right? Amen. Thank you. The sign outside says this is a Unitarian Universalist congregation. But what is that? And how do we know if we are one of them? I bet at least a few of you, if not all of you, have asked yourself those questions at some point. Yes? So how many people identify right now as Unitarian Universalist? Okay, how about if I say it? How many people identify as being on the spectrum of Unitarian Universalism? Okay. Now, how do you know that you are you, or know that you're not? Now, no worries if you're not sure, because as with everything these days, there is an app for that, or at least a website with a survey. So how many people have taken the Belief-O-Matic quiz? A few of you? Oh. It's a website that claims to be able to identify your religion through 20 short questions. Now, years ago, I took another version of the What Religion Are You quiz. It told me I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I kind of freaked out. But then I realized it was probably because I answered all these questions about strict diet and I didn't drink caffeine or have alcohol at the time. But after I saw that result, I ran out and got me an Irish coffee. Later, I did another version of the quiz that deemed me a Buddhist. I could live with that. But I was disappointed that it didn't name my true identity at the time, was very much a mystical, atheist, process theologian yogi. But I guess that wasn't one of the options for the quiz makers. When I discovered the Belief-O-Matic, I avoided it for a while, afraid of what it would come up with. But the other day, in preparation for this message, I finally gave it a try. And the results are in, my friends. Are you ready? According to the Belief-O-Matic, your minister is a Unitarian Universalist. Amen. I did the test twice just to confirm. Now, the fascinating thing about this process for me was to see how excited I felt when this little online survey revealed that I was you. I don't know why, but I was scared. I thought maybe if the results were different, I'd have to rethink my entire life and vocation. But it was more than that. Seeing the words Unitarian Universalist pop up on that screen gave me a deep sense of belonging. Amen? Finally. Now, I know some of you can relate when I say I never felt like I belonged to a religion before in my life. Not really, at least not one that would pop up on as the answer to one of those quizzes. Throughout my life, I just didn't fit in with religion. I had come to accept not fitting in as part of my identity. But then there was this website telling me I did fit in. Now, that was all wonderful for about all of 10 minutes. Then I started to panic a little. Was I being pigeonholed? That's how you know I was you, because I was asking that question. Was I being pigeonholed? Pegged as something just because of these 20 brief questions? Who came up with these things? What did they know about me? Were they seeing the whole of me? Again, you can tell I'm UU. If this computer thinks I'm UU, does it think I accept everything about Unitarian Universalism? The present and the past, the good and the not so good? I mean, the truth is, there are many things that fit for me about Unitarian Universalism. So many, I became a minister. And if I were to make a list of my ideal religion, much of what is in Unitarian Universalism would be on my list. Much here feels like me, but not necessarily everything. Are you with me? Yeah. Let's talk about these shoulders we are standing on as one example. This theologically open faith has developed on the shoulders of some extraordinary people. People like the 16th century theologian Francis David. David was someone who challenged the religious rules of the day to declare religious freedom, sacrificing his life because he refused to use Jesus' name in prayer, and for that he was killed. Now that's some badass commitment to your beliefs, right? And we also stand on the shoulders of some other theologically brave people who in the 1800s declared declared universal salvation, a radical thought at the time. And others who said, no, Jesus was human, no more divine than themselves. And without these people like Universalist minister John Murray and Hosea Blue and people like Unitarian William Ellery Channing, among so many others, this UU faith that we sit with today may not exist because of what they did. And yet, as inspiring as the stories of these people can be for us, realizing on whose shoulders we stand should also make us feel a little uncomfortable, maybe a lot uncomfortable. For all the shoulders we stand on are not inspiring figures. I mean, the truth is, if any of these preachers just mentioned above entered our pulpit on a Sunday morning now, you may not be too happy about the male-privileged, God-centered, gay-denying message that they may deliver. And though many Unitarians and Universalists were abolitionists and suffragettes, they were not all. Our namesake, Ralph Waldo Emerson, is a case in point. Emerson was a man with some inspiring theological ideas for sure. The transcendental movement which he birthed clearly informs many of our own theological thoughts about the miracle of nature, about the ability for each of us to have a personal connection with Source. And yet, this man whom we cherish for so much was in fact a white supremacist. In his own writings for much of his life, Emerson maintained his proposition that whites were a superior race to blacks. Now, he eventually became an abolitionist, and yet I'm not sure, based on his writings, that he ever really believed that all men were created equal. And I choose the word men deliberately. To quote one source of Emerson, saying, in the case of women, Emerson's initial posture was quite traditional. On one hand, he exalted women, and on the other, required their submission. Women were equal-ish, according to Emerson. Now, luckily, he was good friends with Louisa May Alcott, who I like to consider probably, kicking his behind once in a while about these issues, but the truth was he maintained many of those thoughts in his writings and his beliefs throughout his life. So, Emersonians, good time to take a deep breath. I know a congregation that removed the name of Emerson from their fellowship hall to distance themselves from him. Now, they call this cancel culture now, the idea that we reject or cancel someone based on actions and beliefs, even if those actions and beliefs were far in the past. Is that wise and thoughtful to do such, to cancel? Perhaps. But I'm going to let you all decide and invite a discussion during our service reflections today. because that's not the point of this sermon. In more recent history, our own Unitarian Universalist leaders have on more than one occasion shown themselves to not be the shoulders I think we would have hoped they would be for us to stand on. In one instance, at the Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly in 1993, faith leaders made a cringeworthy at best and racist, in fact, suggestion. That year marked Thomas Jefferson's 250th birthday. And since host city, Charlotte, North Carolina, was in what was then named the Thomas Jefferson District of the UUA and near his plantation, the white male minister at Thomas Jefferson Memorial, who honored Jefferson, suggested that GA should honor Jefferson as well. So the GA Planning Committee took his suggestion and decided that the Saturday night ball of that year's GA would celebrate Jefferson. They suggested that UUs attend the ball dressed in period costumes from the early 19th century. I'm going to stop for a moment so you can take that in. Period costumes were suggested. On Thursday morning of GA, in the first business session, Hope Johnson, who would later become a minister, a black woman who at the time was the lay leader at Community Church of New York, stepped to the microphone to read a statement from the African American Unitarian Universalist ministers and allies from a variety of racial and cultural backgrounds. The statement Johnson read argued that honoring Jefferson, an unrepentant slaveholder who advocated the extermination of indigenous people in America, showed a profound lack of sensitivity and judgment, particularly in view of the UUA's stated thrust this year towards racial, ethnic diversity. And she continues, she said, if UUs were to wear period costumes for the ball, must African Americans attend such events in rags and chains? Not our finest moment. While many protested the ball and did not attend, many others did attend for various reasons. We stand on the shoulders of Hope Johnson and others who named the harm that we have done. And we also stand on the shoulders of the ones who caused the harm. We can't pretend we don't. We do not always feel proud to be a Unitarian Universalist or an American, for those of us that are. Thomas Jefferson UU Church did eventually change its name. Now, to be clear, I'm not suggesting we change our name, but I am suggesting that we recognize that shoulder standing is messy. Remember the opening words? The ones that come before us are not always ones to be proud of, but then again, will our descendants be proud to receive what we are creating right now? Someone once commented how we all want to be the one to throw that final bucket on the fire, to save the day, to make the big difference, to be the ones who get it right. Because of that, we can want to defame what has come before us and picture ourselves as the wise ones, right? They didn't know any better, so we'll ignore them. I've got it right. But I have come to believe that to be Unitarian Universalist isn't about that at all. To be Unitarian Universalist is not about having the answers. It's not about getting the theology right, being the one to finally point out the fire of injustice. To me, to be a Unitarian Universalist, you must be willing to be in that line, receiving the bucket from the person to your right, make a contribution to the bucket, and then pass it on to the person to your left. To me, that is Unitarian Universalism. It's been that way with our theology. We get something from the ones whose shoulders we stand on. We add our own drops to the bucket and pass it on, creating a theology that is even more open and loving than our forebears. But we are not getting it right any more than David or Ballou or Channing did. But hopefully, we are getting it a little better. Yes. And it's that way with our justice work. Emerson surely did not have it right. But I don't think we have it right either. But hopefully, we're getting a little better. Sometimes the bucket of water we receive needs some major filtration, right? Sometimes we want to look at that dirty soup we are given and look back at who gave it to us and say, really? This is the best you could do? How am I supposed to clean up this mess? But as Unitarian Universalists, we take it and we move it down the line. The thing is, even if that handy-dandy belief-o-matic pegged me as a Unitarian Universalist, and even though I agree with their findings, I do not agree with their methodology. The belief-o-matic uses a series of questions about what you believe to identify your faith. But I think as Unitarian Universalists, it's more about how we be than what we believe. So just for you today, I'm going to unveil the new UU-O-matic quiz. It's only 5 questions to reveal to you if you are a Unitarian Universalist. So here we go. I want you to keep track of your score. If you are here because you find value in being with other people and creating community, give yourself a point. If you do not want to be told what to think or believe, but instead want to be invited to use many sources of wisdom to explore life's big questions, give yourself a point. You get a bonus point if you think the word mystery is really cool. If you think that our actions, both individually and collectively, can make a difference in creating a more just and equitable world, give yourself a point. And you get a bonus point if you have done something lately to promote justice, equity, and inclusion. If you feel that welcoming all into the community is a spiritual practice, give yourself a point. And give yourself a bonus point if you feel inclusion is actually a spiritual or moral mandate. And the last one. If you feel having snacks at fellowship time and gathering for potlucks are vital to your religion, give yourself a point. Okay, add up your points. Got your number in mind? Okay, here's the results. So, if you took the quiz with a sense of humor and willingness to play along, raise your hand. You are Unitarian Universalists. If you sat there wondering why the heck the minister was doing such a silly thing, you do not need to raise your hand, but you too are a Unitarian Universalist. Amen. If you sometimes look around and feel, yes, I love these people, these are my people, you are you. If some days you look around and think, come on, these are my people, you are you. If you feel some days you have found the perfect faith and are proud and inspired by those on whose shoulders you stand, you are Unitarian Universalist. And if sometimes you feel embarrassed by the harm our collective ignorance has caused and commit yourself to doing better, you are indeed a Unitarian Universalist. Really, only you can decide if you are you. But just remember, no matter how you identify yourself, someday we will all hand that water bucket to the next person in line. And someday it will be others who will look at us as they stand on our shoulders. You or not, may we be worthy of their approving gaze and hopefully compassionate look. Amen. That's all the preaching I got, but we're going to sing a little bit. So feel free to rise and body your spirit. We have a short, is this a round? No. We're just going to sing this 4 times. So please rise if you'd like. Feel free to hand motion if you would like. There's so much we give and so much we receive. Some closing words. Oh, yeah, there we go. I love David White, so I wanted to share these closing words with you from David White. He says, "To feel as if you belong is one of the greatest triumphs of human existence, and especially to sustain a life of belonging and to invite others into it. May you feel that connection here and wherever you go, and may you invite others to join you." Blessing be, I think we're going to close this up on time.
We hope you have been nourished in heart and mind by our worship today. If you would like more information about Unitarian Universalism or about Emerson, please stop by our welcome table in the front entry, where Carol Shear will be happy to speak with you. Please plan to join us next week as we welcome the Emerson Choir leading a service called Building Community Through Song. Reverend Bennett will return to the pulpit on May 14th and speak about dedicating our lives. And a reminder that we will hold our Founders Day picnic next Sunday, May 7th, God willing, and the creek don't rise and the sun shines. And we'll also have the dedication of the Memorial Garden following that day. As our chalice is extinguished this morning, please join in the final words that are posted in the chat and in the order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.